Picture this. You've invested time, energy, and emotion into someone, only to be left in the dust. Your heart aches, but what if I told you that this moment can be your greatest teacher? Imagine transforming that pain into a powerful tool, a weapon of self-mastery. The Stoics believe that our response to adversity shapes our character. So, instead of letting betrayal consume you, what if you embraced a mindset that turns abandonment into strength? Think about it. Every setback holds a lesson, a chance to recalibrate your emotional compass. What is it that you truly want? It's not just about the person who walked away. It's about reclaiming your power. Can you feel that shift? The moment you decide to be cold and calculated, you step into a new realm of attraction. Now, let's challenge the status quo. What if the very principles that guide Stoicism can also define your relationships? Imagine viewing every connection through the lens of resilience and rationality. It's time to flip the script. Abandonment isn't the end. It's an opportunity to rise, stronger and wiser. So, are you ready to dive deep into the Stoic mindset that can change everything? Let's explore. Before we begin, don't forget to like our content, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, I'd like to invite you to subscribe. Acceptance of reality. One of the hardest pills to swallow after a relationship ends is the simple truth that abandonment is part of life. It's a reality we all face at some point. I remember when I first realized that accepting this truth was my first step toward moving forward. It felt like a weight had been lifted. Instead of wallowing in self-pity or anger, I started to embrace the idea that every ending paves the way for a new beginning. It's not easy, but acknowledging that life is full of these ups and downs is crucial. Accepting reality doesn't mean you have to like it. In fact, it's quite the opposite. I found myself grappling with emotions that were all over the place, and that's okay. The important part is understanding that these feelings are valid. They're part of the healing process. I learned to sit with my discomfort instead of running away from it. I think we often underestimate the power of acceptance. It's the foundation of resilience. Once I accepted what had happened, I could start to reflect on the lessons learned. I began to understand that every relationship, no matter how it ends, carries valuable insights about myself and others. It's like life is constantly teaching us, but we have to be willing students. Accepting reality opened my eyes to those lessons, allowing me to grow rather than regress. Acceptance also meant letting go of the what-ifs. I used to obsess over the possible outcomes that could have changed the situation, but I realized that this was a waste of energy. Focusing on what is rather than what could have been became my new mantra. It was liberating. I started to invest my time and energy into things that I could control: my actions, my thoughts, and my future. Ultimately, accepting reality is about compassion, both for myself and for others. It's easy to blame someone else for the pain, but acceptance invites empathy into the equation. I learned to appreciate the good memories while also recognizing that sometimes people are meant to walk different paths. This balance has made me stronger and more open to the possibilities that lie ahead. Control of emotions. Managing emotions after a breakup can feel like trying to tame a wild animal. I remember those whirlwind days filled with anger, sadness, and confusion. Instead of letting those feelings dictate my actions, I made a conscious decision to practice emotional restraint. It wasn't easy. I had to learn to pause before reacting. Every time a wave of anger or sadness washed over me, I took a deep breath and reminded myself that impulsive reactions rarely lead to anything good. One of the techniques I found helpful was journaling. Putting pen to paper allowed me to process my emotions without acting on them. It became my safe space to vent, cry, and even laugh about the situation. By writing down my feelings, I created a buffer between my emotional state and my actions. This practice helped me to respond thoughtfully rather than impulsively, which made a world of difference in how I moved forward. Another aspect of controlling emotions is recognizing triggers. There were certain songs, places, and even conversations that would send me spiraling back into sadness or anger. By identifying these triggers, I could either avoid them or find ways to cope when they popped up. It's a bit like learning to dance with your emotions instead of letting them lead. I learned that acknowledging these feelings was essential, but they didn't have to dictate how I lived my life. Meditation also became a powerful tool for me. Sitting quietly and focusing on my breath taught me to observe my thoughts and feelings without judgment. It was a game changer. Instead of getting swept away by emotional tides, I learned to create a sense of calm within myself. This practice allowed me to gain perspective and respond to situations from a place of clarity rather than chaos. Ultimately, controlling emotions is about finding balance. I realized that it's okay to feel deeply. It's part of being human. However, I also learned the importance of channeling those emotions constructively. Whether it was through creative outlets, exercise, or connecting with friends, I found ways to express what I was feeling without letting those emotions take the wheel. This balance has not only benefited me in my healing process, but has also made me more resilient in the face of life's challenges. Distinction between what can and cannot be controlled. One of the most liberating realizations I had post-breakup was understanding the distinction between what I could control and what I couldn't. Initially, I spent so much time fixating on the past and on the choices of others. Why did they leave? What if I had done something differently? It was exhausting and utterly unproductive. Once I consciously redirected my focus to what was within my control, my thoughts, my actions, and my responses, I began to feel a shift in my emotional landscape. I learned that I can't control how others feel or act, but I can control how I react to those feelings and actions. This realization was a game changer. It helped me stop internalizing someone else's choices as a reflection of my worth. Instead of getting stuck in a cycle of blame and regret, I started to take ownership of my feelings and decisions. This not only empowered me, but also freed me from the burden of trying to change someone else's mind or heart. Focusing on what I could control also meant setting boundaries. I realized that I needed to protect my emotional space. This involved limiting contact with my ex and creating distance to allow myself to heal. It was hard initially, but the clarity that came from this decision was invaluable. I stopped wasting energy on things that didn't serve me and focused on nurturing my well-being. Another important aspect was accepting the uncertainty of life. I learned to be okay with not having all the answers. Life is unpredictable, and trying to control every outcome is a recipe for disappointment. Instead, I started to embrace the unknown as part of my journey. This shift in mindset allowed me to approach new situations with curiosity rather than fear, opening doors I never thought possible. Ultimately, distinguishing between what I can and cannot control became a powerful mantra in my life. It taught me to prioritize my energy and to invest in my personal growth. I began to see challenges as opportunities rather than obstacles, and that perspective changed everything. It's a continuous practice, but every time I remind myself of this distinction, I feel a little lighter and a lot more empowered. Resilience and self-confidence. Resilience is one of those buzzwords we hear a lot, but living it is another story altogether. After experiencing a breakup, I felt like I had been thrown into a storm. My self-confidence took a hit, and I wasn't sure how to pick myself back up. But as I navigated through the emotional turmoil, I realized that resilience isn't just about bouncing back. It's about growing stronger through adversity. At first, I didn't see the light at the end of the tunnel. I had to remind myself that healing takes time. I started small, setting daily goals that focused on self-care and self-improvement. Whether it was going for a walk, reading a book, or picking up a new hobby, each small step contributed to rebuilding my confidence. Over time, these little victories added up, and I began to feel like myself again. A key part of resilience is reframing negative thoughts. Instead of thinking, "I'll never find love again," I shifted to, "This is a chance for me to learn about myself." This mindset change didn't happen overnight, but it was essential in helping me regain my self-esteem. I learned that each setback was an opportunity to grow, and that my worth wasn't tied to someone else's opinion of me. I also leaned into my support network during this time. Friends and family became my cheerleaders, reminding me of my strengths when I struggled to see them myself. I realized that it's okay to lean on others when you're feeling down. Sharing my experiences and vulnerabilities not only helped me heal but also deepened my relationships. I discovered that resilience is often cultivated in community, and I began to appreciate the power of connection. Finally, I learned that self-confidence is built through action. As I faced fears and took on challenges, I began to trust myself again. Each step outside my comfort zone, whether it was socializing or trying new experiences, reinforced my belief in my abilities. It became clear that resilience and self-confidence go hand in hand. The more resilient I became, the more confident I felt, and vice versa. It's an ongoing journey, but I'm grateful for every lesson learned along the way. Reflection on the relationship, looking back at my past relationships, I often find myself thinking about what went wrong. It's tempting to get lost in the emotions of the moment, but I try to take a step back and analyze things objectively. Reflecting on the relationship isn't just about the pain of the breakup. It's also an opportunity to learn. I ask myself questions. What patterns emerged? Did I ignore any red flags? This kind of reflection isn't easy, but it's crucial for growth. One thing that's always struck me is how important it is to identify both the good and the bad. Sure, there were moments of joy and connection, but there were also times of frustration and misunderstanding. Acknowledging these aspects helps me gain a more balanced view. I think it's essential to appreciate the lessons learned while also recognizing my role in the dynamics. It's a bit like being my own detective, searching for clues about what I can do differently in future relationships. I also find that this reflective process allows me to celebrate personal growth. I can see how I've changed over time, not just in how I relate to others, but also in understanding my own needs and desires. It's a bit liberating to know that every relationship, successful or not, has contributed to who I am today. It's like building a toolkit for the future, one filled with experiences that shape my approach to love and connection. There's a certain power in being able to dissect past relationships. It transforms pain into wisdom. If I'm honest, I sometimes find myself wishing I could go back and do things differently, but I also recognize that every misstep has taught me something valuable. This kind of reflection is a crucial step in moving forward, allowing me to carry the lessons without the baggage. Ultimately, the goal of reflecting on the relationship is to emerge wiser and more self-aware. It's about understanding that every experience adds to my story and prepares me for what lies ahead. I'm learning to embrace this process, knowing that it's not just about closure, but about opening new doors for growth. Emotional detachment. Practicing emotional detachment is something that I've learned to value deeply. It might sound harsh at first, but it's not about shutting off my feelings. Instead, it's about creating a healthier distance from them. When I allow myself to become overly attached, I often find myself in a cycle of suffering. By learning to let go, I can experience life more freely. It's like removing the weight from my shoulders. One of the first things I realized was that my happiness shouldn't be tied solely to the presence or absence of someone else. This doesn't mean I stop caring. Rather, it means I'm learning to find happiness within myself. It's been quite freeing to focus on what truly makes me happy: hobbies, friendships, and personal goals. This shift in focus helps me cultivate a more balanced emotional state. I've also noticed that emotional detachment allows me to view situations more clearly. When I'm not drowning in feelings, I can assess situations more objectively. This clarity is invaluable, especially when it comes to making decisions about future relationships. I can recognize potential issues without being blinded by emotion, which makes me feel more empowered. Of course, emotional detachment doesn't happen overnight. It's a practice, much like meditation or exercise. I've learned to be patient with myself during this process. Sometimes it's challenging to let go of the past, but I remind myself that I'm doing this for my own well-being. Each step I take toward detachment is a step toward emotional freedom. In the end, embracing emotional detachment has been a game changer. It's not about being cold or indifferent. It's about creating space for my own growth. I'm learning to navigate my emotions without being consumed by them, which has opened up new possibilities for happiness and fulfillment. The power of indifference. The concept of indifference has become a guiding principle in my life. It's not about being apathetic. Rather, it's about choosing where to direct my emotional energy. I've realized that many things are beyond my control, especially the opinions and actions of others. By practicing indifference, I can focus on what truly matters to me without getting sidetracked by external noise. One of the most liberating aspects of embracing indifference is how it enables me to prioritize my own values. Instead of feeling pressured to conform to what others think, I can stand firm in my beliefs. This shift in mindset has helped me cultivate a sense of inner peace. I've learned that not everyone will agree with me, and that's perfectly okay. I'm free to live my life on my terms. Indifference also allows me to take a step back from drama and negativity. It's easy to get caught up in the chaos around us, but by practicing indifference, I can maintain my emotional balance. I find that I'm less affected by gossip or criticism, which gives me the freedom to focus on my own journey. This doesn't mean I ignore constructive feedback. It just means I'm better equipped to separate the wheat from the chaff. Another benefit of this mindset is that it fosters resilience. When I'm indifferent to opinions that don't serve me, I'm less likely to be thrown off course by setbacks. Life has its ups and downs, and by choosing my reactions wisely, I can navigate those challenges with grace. It's like building emotional armor that protects me from unnecessary pain. In summary, the power of indifference has reshaped my approach to life. It's about finding strength in my own beliefs and values while remaining unaffected by the noise around me. This practice has become a cornerstone of my emotional well-being, allowing me to thrive in my own space. Focusing on the present moment has been one of the most transformative practices I've adopted. It's so easy to get lost in the past or to worry about the future, but I've found that true peace resides in the here and now. When I consciously redirect my attention to the present, I can fully engage with my life as it unfolds. It's a powerful shift that has dramatically improved my overall well-being. One way I practice staying present is through mindfulness techniques. Whether it's taking a few deep breaths or simply observing my surroundings, these small moments of awareness help ground me. I've discovered that when I'm truly present, I can appreciate life's little joys, like the warmth of the sun or the laughter of friends. These fleeting moments become more vibrant when I'm not distracted by what happened yesterday or what might happen tomorrow. Another aspect of focusing on the present is letting go of regrets and anxieties. I've realized that dwelling on the past only holds me back from living fully. Yes, I've made mistakes, but ruminating on them doesn't change anything. Instead, I choose to learn and move forward. This shift in perspective liberates me from the chains of guilt and fear, allowing me to embrace each day with fresh eyes. Living in the present also enhances my relationships. When I'm fully engaged with others, I can listen deeply and connect meaningfully. I've noticed that the quality of my interactions improves significantly. I'm no longer half listening while my mind races ahead to future tasks or concerns. Instead, I'm savoring the conversation, building stronger connections with those around me. Ultimately, focusing on the present moment has enriched my life in countless ways. It's a continuous practice, but the rewards are worth the effort. I'm learning to appreciate life as it unfolds, finding joy in the journey rather than fixating on destinations. It's a beautiful way to live, and I'm grateful for each moment I get to experience fully. Cultivation of virtue. When I think about the virtues I want to cultivate in my life, I realize how essential they are to shaping who I am and who I aspire to be. Wisdom, courage, and temperance. These aren't just words. They are guiding principles that can lead me toward a more fulfilling existence. Wisdom allows me to reflect on my past relationships and learn from them, understanding that each experience, whether good or bad, contributes to my growth. It's about taking the lessons learned and applying them to future interactions, ensuring that I don't repeat the same mistakes. Courage is another virtue that resonates deeply with me. It's not just about facing fears. It's about being vulnerable and open to the possibilities that lie ahead. After a breakup, it's easy to retreat into my shell, afraid of being hurt again. But embracing courage means putting myself out there again, believing in love, and trusting that I am worthy of connection. It's a powerful tool that helps me face the unknown with an open heart and mind. Then there's temperance. This virtue reminds me to find balance in my emotions and actions. After a relationship ends, it's easy to swing from one extreme to another, either wallowing in sadness or jumping into the next thing without reflection. Temperance teaches me to be moderate, to take my time in processing my feelings without rushing into decisions that I might regret later. It encourages me to find that sweet spot where I can honor my feelings while also keeping a level head. As I cultivate these virtues, I find that they not only improve my self-image, but also enhance my relationships with others. When I embody wisdom, courage, and temperance, I attract people who resonate with those qualities. It becomes a cycle of positive reinforcement, Each virtue I develop draws in relationships that reflect that growth. I start to see the beauty in the journey of self-improvement, realizing that it's not just about me, but also about the connections I foster along the way. Ultimately, the cultivation of virtue is a lifelong journey. It requires constant self-reflection and a willingness to adapt and change. Sometimes I stumble. I may act out of anger or fear, but I know that this is part of the process. Each misstep is an opportunity to learn and grow, reinforcing my commitment to being a better man. This journey is not only about personal development, but about how I relate to the world around me. Self-critical assessment, self-reflection can be a daunting task, especially after experiencing the pain of abandonment. However, undertaking a self-critical assessment is crucial for my personal development. I need to ask myself hard questions. What role did I play in the relationship? Were there warning signs that I ignored? Acknowledging my own shortcomings helps me take responsibility for my actions rather than casting all the blame on my partner. It's a liberating process that encourages growth. In this self-assessment, I also focus on understanding my patterns and behaviors. For instance, did I communicate effectively? Did I express my needs and desires? Often, relationships falter not due to a lack of love, but due to miscommunication. An honest evaluation of my behavior allows me to identify areas where I can improve. This isn't about self-flagellation, but rather about recognizing that I have the agency to change and grow. Another essential aspect of this process is recognizing my emotional triggers. What situations led to conflicts? How did I react and why? By digging deeper into my emotional responses, I can gain insight into why I acted the way I did. This understanding is crucial for avoiding similar pitfalls in the future. It empowers me to manage my reactions better, making me a more emotionally intelligent partner moving forward. Engaging in self-critical assessment also means embracing humility. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking I'm always right or that my perspective is the only valid one. By allowing myself to be vulnerable and open to critique, I create space for true growth. This humility not only benefits my personal life, but also enriches my interactions with others, fostering deeper connections built on mutual respect and understanding. Finally, this self-reflection process requires patience and kindness toward myself. Change doesn't happen overnight, and I need to acknowledge that. As I work on becoming a better version of myself, I remind myself that it's okay to take my time. Each step I take towards self-improvement is a victory, and celebrating these small wins keeps me motivated on this journey. Maintaining a support network. One of the most important lessons I've learned after experiencing abandonment is the value of a strong support network. Friends and family play a vital role in helping me navigate the emotional turmoil that follows a breakup. They provide a safe space where I can express my feelings without fear of judgment. It's comforting to know that I have people who care about me and want to help me heal. Cultivating these relationships takes effort, but it's worth it. I make it a priority to reach out to my friends regularly, not just when I'm feeling down. This consistent communication strengthens our bonds and creates a sense of community. It's in these moments of connection that I find solace and support, knowing I'm not alone in my struggles. Moreover, surrounding myself with positive influences can significantly impact my mindset. Friends who uplift and encourage me help shift my perspective from despair to hope. They remind me of my worth and the possibilities that lie ahead. Their encouragement serves as a reminder that while the past may be painful, the future holds promise and potential for growth. Sometimes, leaning on my support network means being vulnerable and sharing my fears and insecurities. It's not always easy, but opening up allows me to feel seen and understood. My friends offer perspectives I might not have considered, helping me to navigate my emotions more effectively. This exchange fosters a deeper connection, enriching not only my healing process but also my relationships. In moments of doubt, I remind myself that it's okay to ask for help. I'm not expected to navigate my emotions alone. By maintaining and nurturing my support network, I create a safety net that catches me when I stumble. This support not only aids in my healing, but also empowers me to step back into the world with renewed strength and resilience. Practicing gratitude amidst the pain of a breakup, it can be challenging to see the silver lining. However, practicing gratitude has become a transformative habit in my life. It shifts my focus from what I've lost to what I've learned and experienced. By acknowledging the positive aspects of my past relationship, I can find closure and move forward with a lighter heart. One way I practice gratitude is by keeping a journal. I jot down things I appreciate about my past relationship, no matter how small. Perhaps it was a shared laugh or a moment of support during tough times. These reflections remind me that love, even when it ends, can bring joy and growth. It's a beautiful reminder that every experience contributes to my life journey. Additionally, I try to extend this gratitude beyond my romantic relationships. I recognize the support of friends and family who stood by me during difficult times. Expressing appreciation to those who care for me reinforces our bonds and fosters a sense of community. It's a reciprocal relationship. As I express gratitude, I invite more positivity into my life. Practicing gratitude also encourages me to be present and mindful. When I focus on what I'm thankful for, it grounds me in the moment. I find joy in simple pleasures, like a warm cup of coffee or the beauty of a sunset. This mindfulness helps me cultivate an optimistic outlook, reminding me that even in tough times, there's always something to appreciate. Ultimately, gratitude serves as a powerful catalyst for healing. It shifts my perspective and helps me find meaning in my experiences. By recognizing the lessons learned and the love shared, I can embrace the future with an open heart, ready to create new memories and connections. Gratitude doesn't erase the pain, but it does illuminate the path forward, guiding me toward a brighter tomorrow. Redefining expectations. After going through the heart-wrenching experience of abandonment, I've come to realize the importance of redefining my expectations for future relationships. It's easy to carry unrealistic ideals shaped by past experiences or societal pressures. By taking the time to reflect on what I truly want and need, I can approach future relationships with a healthier mindset. First and foremost, I've learned to let go of the notion of perfection. No relationship is flawless. They all come with their challenges and imperfections. By acknowledging this, I free myself from the burden of unattainable standards. This shift allows me to embrace authenticity in both myself and my future partners. I want to build connections based on genuine understanding, not a fantasy of what love should look like. Moreover, I've realized that communication is key. I want to enter future relationships with a clear understanding of my needs and boundaries. By expressing my expectations openly, I create a foundation of trust and respect. This transparency not only helps me feel secure, but also encourages my partner to share their own expectations. It's a two-way street that fosters mutual understanding and growth. In redefining my expectations, I also strive to be more realistic about the pace of a relationship. It's tempting to rush into things, especially after feeling a void from a breakup. However, I remind myself that building a strong connection takes time. I want to savor the journey of getting to know someone, allowing the relationship to unfold naturally. Patience is a virtue I'm learning to embrace. Finally, I've begun to view relationships as opportunities for growth rather than mere sources of happiness. I want to approach each new connection with an open heart, ready to learn and evolve. By shifting my focus from what I want to gain to what I can contribute, I cultivate a healthier, more balanced perspective on love. This mindset encourages me to appreciate the journey, cherishing the lessons learned along the way. Redefining my expectations is not just about preparing for future relationships. It's also about nurturing my own personal. As we wrap up this exploration of Stoicism and emotional resilience, I want you to take a moment and really reflect. When someone chooses to leave your life, it's not a reflection of your worth. Instead, it's an opportunity, a chance to reinforce your inner strength and embrace the principles we've discussed today. Remember, being cold and calculating isn't about being heartless. It's about maintaining your composure in the face of adversity. Ask yourself, how can I use this experience to grow stronger? How can I channel my emotions into action rather than reaction? Every setback is a stepping stone. Each time you stand firm, you're not just weathering the storm, you're building a fortress. So, the next time someone walks away, don't chase after them. Instead, turn that energy inward. What lessons can you learn? How can this fuel your journey toward becoming a more resilient, powerful version of yourself? Let's embrace the Stoic mindset together. Share your thoughts in the comments. How do you cope with abandonment? What strategies do you use to stay grounded? Your insights could inspire others, so let's keep this conversation going. Remember, your journey is just beginning. Thank you to everyone who watched this video. If you found value in this exploration of Stoicism and emotional resilience, I encourage you to subscribe to the Millennial Stoicism channel. Don't forget to write "cold and calculating" in the comments to share your commitment to mastering your emotions. Also, share this video with your friends and family. They might need this wisdom too. Reflection from Marcus Aurelius. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Therefore, guard accordingly, and take care that you entertain no notions unsuitable to virtue and reasonable nature. When someone chooses to leave your life, it's not a reflection of your worth, but an opportunity to strengthen your inner resolve. Embrace this moment as a chance to practice the Stoic principles we've discussed today. Turn your energy inward, learn the lessons, and continue on your path to becoming a more resilient, powerful version of yourself.